Hey everybody, got my dad, Mike Konicke here with me. Today is January 14th, 2026, and it's the 10-year anniversary. It's the 10-year anniversary of our family tragedy. And oftentimes that word anniversary is a happy one, but it's kind of the one that fits best for this. And we had done some content a few months back for the National Homicide Victims Day, and we've been wanting to do this again since, just to share our feelings, our life, how things are going. And I wanted to get Dad on today just to talk about our lives and what's on his mind and things that he can share. Because in my book, I shared a lot about both of our sides, but he has a lot to share himself. And I wanted to just have a conversation. So, hey, Dad.
Hey, hey, so what has changed or how am I different? How is my life different? What did I learn from going through this tragedy? Probably the most impressive thing that I took away from it was, as Alex documented in his book, the community, family, network of people around us came to our aid, our help quickly, very quickly, and abundantly, and for a long period of time. And that kind of stood with me big time. Um, a lot of people go through life concerned about tragedies. They're afraid they're going to get in an accident or the plane's going to crash or, whatever. And it creates anxiety in people. And I know that because my fiance, Pepper, and I talked about that. And there's anxiety in the world. And what this kind of showed me is if something bad really happens, and and you have help, that's tremendous. And so what it makes me do is look at my life, look around at my network of people who are part of my life, casually or not. And will they ever need that type of help? Or even less than that type of help? Even just daily things. Can
And
I help them be happier and make their life easier? And so I just look back at the last 10 years and that's what I've been doing most of the time is devoting a big chunk of my time to make sure that everyone that I touch in this world, um, I can help them if they're not in dire straits like we were to help, but in any way I can, to help them be happier and make their life easier. And yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing because of this. Um, I'm going to pause right here to read my notes since
yeah,
there's no light in. Um, okay, I'm back in. And so I've coined a phrase that I've used for a few people in my life since the tragedy, and it wasn't right after the tragedy, it was many years after. And the quote or the phrase goes like this: I have extreme faith that I will be well taken care of, period. And that basically the anxiety of a tragedy or something bad happening to people that they carry around in their lives all the time. That what I just said was kind of a blanket. No, I'm not going to worry about that stuff. I have extreme faith that I've been through bad tragedy. Um, I'm hoping that I never go through something like that again, but I went through it the first time and here I am. So that's why I have extreme faith that I will be well taken care of, is my one of the many mottos I have in my life. um,
it's definitely the tattoo on his chest. He doesn't have a tattoo, but if he did have a tattoo, it'd be that or the bumper sticker kind of thing. And I can attest to his generosity with me, with people around him, with helping with money, with rides, with when their car breaks down or just any sort of acts of kindness. He's definitely that's um, organic for him. And And yeah, I've told him a million times, maybe not even enough, that I appreciate him for all that he's done to support. And that's a really good point because I actually just talked to Jill Keeler, Pa, so an a old neighbor of ours, Jill Brewer
A
now.
long-term friend, a
Yeah,
long-term friend. Yes.
yeah, and she said that a mutual friend of ours broke his ankle, and he's in a close-knit community. He told one neighbor that he was going to the ER. Within like a couple hours, like 12 of their neighbors were jumping on it to help out, to bring meals, to help with rides to work and things like that. And that's key to having a happy life when things go downhill, because things are going to happen to everybody, whether it's as intense as ours, or there's worse things out there, or not as intense but it impacts you that way. So having that community, and so per dad's examples here of giving back wherever you can. And I feel like a lot of rich people, like Tony Robbins and a lot of successful people, talk a lot about generosity being a key factor to happiness, and to even that building out to a stronger community around you. And yeah, I think it's a really good point, Bob.
Yeah, you look back at what we've been through and survived, and like I said, I'm counting on that not happening again or anything worse than that happening to me.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't worry about it, you know. I've told people many times, um, I'm not counting on I'm not even not counting. I'm betting on the fact that my house is never going to burn down again for the rest of my life. Why do I
Hmm.
need homeowner insurance, right? It happened already, and that's what happened. So the other interesting thing is that I learned in providing that help, I learned that throughout the tragedy, I demonstrated to myself that I have some pretty good first responder traits to me. When other people would run, I don't, and I don't get upset, and I stay clear-headed, and that's a skill that I can offer as help to people. And so I'm actually looking for opportunities, and I have already. Just last year I did when Pepper fell on her face, right? Okay.
That's right.
I responded to that. And so that's not a thing that I can give, but it's a it's not a physical thing, I should say. It's something I can offer, and yeah, I'm keeping my eyes peeled for when I can use that skill to good use. So
I want to come back to this calm thing. Before I was going to interrupt you earlier, didn't I want to now, about congratulations on getting engaged on Christmas. You touched on that. We didn't really touch on it here. Most people out there don't really know yet, other than family. So congratulations, Pa.
okay, well, thank you. But speaking of that, after the tragedy, losing my house, losing my wife, I for years I was in my brain convinced that I would die a bachelor, die by myself somewhere as a bachelor. That's what I was convinced of. And now that's not the case. And it's good. And I found the right person. And now life is pretty good, really good. Um, yeah, so things changed a lot in the last 10 years. Yes, definitely. And
A
now I'm in
lot.
Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. Moved to Florida in 2021, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
the end of 2021. And yeah, and but back to the calmness, Pa. I told a lot of people that like they should do studies on you and on your brain and like on your whole person, because you do stay calm. Part of my recovery with getting through this in a calm way was because you were very grounding to me, being calm, and you can like handle anything. My dad's also said oftentimes that he spoke on anxiety earlier. He used to tell me he doesn't really know what that is because he's never experienced it. So there's something about the calmness that he's created, that he's been also like blessed with, and all of that combined, he's definitely prepared his life to to be this way as well, but it's also a gift.
Yeah, another thing I learned since the tragedy is that people do live their lives with a whole lot more stress and anxiety than I do, and I'd never appreciated that before. Uh, saw a TV show and the guy says, how many people are stressed because of this? And I thought it was nothing. And everyone raised their hands. I thought, oh my gosh, all these people are carrying this with them every day. How can that be? So yeah, I've got a bigger so people always think everyone's like them, right? Okay. If I do this, that means everyone does it, and that's not the case with what Alex is just talking about, stress and anxiety and things like that. So yeah, that's a help that I can offer people also, which is not a thing, a physical thing. It's help when they need that help. So first responder and cool and calm are gifts I can give people, and I have, and it's wonderful. And it doesn't cost me anything. It's a release for me to do that, a good release.
Now I feel like in a first responder scenario, I can stay pretty calm too. I've had experiences where that's happened, but the the difference between you and I, Pa, is that I do have a lot of stress and anxiety. I'm kind of running on like sprint mode all the time, like overthinking and trying to do too much, and so that's something that I'm working on that you're a great example of, and yeah, always trying to find that calm. Just, whether it's trusting in God, also
Right.
just relaxing, letting things go, finding peace and like in prayer, or just, not trying to do too many things a day. That was the thing after the tragedy too, that my dad talked a lot about. I'm doing one thing a day, and one main thing a day, where I would try and do five and I wouldn't finish them all, and I'd be anxious and frustrated and, kind of thing. And so,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was a long haul. That period of time. That was years. Yeah,
yeah,
to go through all the stuff that needed to be done.
yeah. So we're 10 years
Yeah.
out. How do you feel? What's like, how do you feel? What's happening? And then we also
Well,
talked earlier about what's like has anything changed you? What's changed?
I think about my life with Vicky and growing up with you guys a lot still. Um, a lot of pleasant experiences. Yeah, that's not going away. I don't go, months on end without thinking about it or taking some time to meditate about it. Because it made me who I am, being with Vicky for 35 years, married for 35 years, um, was a big chunk of life. It's half my life. So yeah, it's fond memories. Um, yeah, I don't have any regrets. You know, it's just wonderful.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of different wonderfuls in life, and so I'm on to the next wonderful.
And I'm glad that you're on to the next wonderful, because there was definitely touch and go years kind of
Yes,
leading
there
up to
were.
this.
Right.
And if you haven't
There
read the book,
definitely.
go and read the book, and you'll kind of get a sense of that. But and this
Mhm.
isn't meant to be all about the book. What was on my mind a little bit too, though, was that I can't, I couldn't, or my dad can't explain everything that happened from childhood through the tragedy to after in like a coffee date or a conversation. And so the cool thing about the book is that even family members and friends get to like understand all of it. And if you haven't picked it up, definitely check out reviews, because everyone, whether it's someone that doesn't know us, is like a stranger, or has known us a little bit, or even family, um, have have gotten a lot out of understanding the whole thing and reading it and stuff, and just kind of a thing that's in memory of my mom, mental illness awareness, and things that we could have done differently that we're looking back on. Obviously, you can't change the past, but just mental health awareness, and our whole story is there was a lot to it. There's a lot to it that we can't even explain in like a half an hour kind of call.
So can we take a time out here for a second
Yeah.
before I continue to talk? I wanted to talk about a revelation I had earlier, like this week, about what I could have done to prevent this. It's a revelation based on Rob Reiner and just me thinking about the events of our life with Zach.
I think that's
Okay,
perfect. Yeah.
so I'm gonna share this with you. You may not want to be careful how you use it. Okay,
Okay.
okay,
So you said pause, but the easiest, so what I usually do is I'll upload this whole thing to YouTube
okay.
and then I'll clip it from there. I don't have like a bunch of followers on YouTube. And so, you know, do you mind if this is all just live somewhere? I don't mind.
I don't mind either. No, I
Cool.
don't mind.
Great. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're good.
Okay, so I'll go for it. Okay,
Yeah.
so between our tragedy and then the Rob Reiner thing that just came up, it's become clear to me that a possible thing that society could do to help these uh, parricides, meaning parent suicide or padricide or
Patricide.
matricide,
Yeah.
kill your parents, could be limited if the parents put some stiffer boundaries on people who their sons or daughters who aren't acting rationally. And it just dawned on me that I could have, and you'll have to read the book because Alex has an account of this. When Zachary had Vicky pinned down over the sink as if he was going to attack her,
And that was
and I kicked him
a
out.
year prior to everything happening.
Okay, right, right. What I could have done at that point to set a boundary and protect myself is to say, okay, I witnessed your behavior, therefore, and I am afraid of it. So I need to put some boundaries on this person, on Zach, that aren't on Alex. I need to treat him differently to protect myself and to protect Vicky. And I could have put some pretty severe boundaries on him. You can only talk to us at these times. You are not welcome to our house unannounced, period. You cannot come to our house. And and if you do want to come to our house, it's under strict provisions. You will behave this way, it'll be for this long, you will do these things, and then you will leave. And you won't come back until we know that you will be coming back. Um, we could have done, I could have done something like that. Never dawned on me until the Rob Reiner thing. Um, but it's like there's you could deal with the mental illness by attempting to fix it or control it, or you could just control your risk of being in that situation, attacked. And that takes parents to actually put tighter boundaries on some of their kids than others. And it, Alex, I don't know about in your book that if you talked about whether or not we should have called the cops on Zach earlier, more times. Um, but that also. So you're not discriminating against this person. You are just controlling the risk of you becoming a victim in whatever form that would take. So, and I just thought of that this week that I could have done that. I could have put boundaries on Zach and controlled that uncontrollable aspect of our lives, and I didn't. And if I was to face it again, I would. So, Alex, I just got to thank you for choosing Zoom. This meeting has been upgraded by the host and
Yeah,
now
it was
includes
gonna
me.
cut out in like 5 minutes, so I upgraded just because
Okay.
this was a really good topic to not get stuck on or
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I think that's
So,
that's great.
So yeah, that I need it's a brand new idea, and I need to investigate it a little bit more and play that through my mind a bunch more times to see if there's actually something to it. And I intend, Alex, I intend to, when I meet with these HR leaders next month or the month after, I intend to have that concept a little bit more developed, um, to make it socially acceptable to put stronger boundaries on your children who are behaving irrationally.
Yeah.
Um, make that a thing. That's just a thing. It's not you being mean or bad or anything. It's expected. It's expected of a parent to do that on their kids who are at risk of doing damage to them. And we kind of all know who those people are. You know, you could just label your kids, not no risk, some risk, a lot of risk, and have that a tool that parents can use. That's socially acceptable to do that, to not treat your kids the same, especially when they're adults, right?
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I'm done with that thought.
Well, and I might extrapolate that thought out, longer right now because that's a really good point. And I've talked a lot about enabling, and I learned this a lot in Chick Shadle when you were going through alcohol recovery, how there's different um what's it called? Like each family member in a family plays a different role within a alcoholic family, and there's an enabler, and there's different other kinds. I don't remember all of them right now. I
Right.
read about it a little bit in the book, but enabling, like, we can see that in all these different stories where it was enabled. Rob Reiner, I don't know a whole lot about it, but Nick, I, I, it was Nick, right? It was a
Dick
son,
Ryder. Yeah.
Nick
Yeah.
Reiner. Like, he was in 10 or 18 different facilities for getting treatment, and Rob Reiner and his wife seem to have been such kind and loving and creating a safe space for Nick that it was overly enabled. And now that's kind of like within a parents' genes to care for their kids as much as possible to the ends of the earth. And I often talk about the mama bear that will do anything for their child, and go the 10 miles to keep them safe when that might take the life of a different child in their family or their whole family or neighbors or things like that. And to your point, someone's not acting normal within society. Even a dog, like if a dog's not, dog's biting everybody, like the dog can't just be loose.
Right.
And
You need boundaries on the dog. Right.
yeah,
Right.
and I don't know if this is the right phrase, but there's a new thing out there called, I think, soft parenting. And it's kind of how parenting has gone, where 50, 60 years ago, like, all the kids got beat and they were obedient. I'm not saying you should beat your kids, but it's gotten soft parenting and enabling, and essentially that when you're doing that, you're letting that person run the show. Your family is ran by their emotions and how and what they need for the room and space. And we used to have a dog that was a little aggressive and bit. And whenever someone would come over, we have to, like, tell them, hey Cooper, this is Mike, or this is John. It's okay. Like, this is our friend. Like, the dog ran the house, the dog ran the show. And
Right.
that's that, that didn't lead to a good outcome either. And all these different, different scenarios. And I like that you had that epiphany, Pa. And you have a laissez-faire mindset of not getting too involved unless you need to, and having
Right.
trust and faith and personal responsibility. And you did kick Zach out that day when he pinned Mom against
Right.
the sink, which was, I guess, a year before everything happened. Now, our neighbor, my mom had told our neighbor that Zach left the house saying, "I'm gonna come back, burn the house down, and murder Mom, or murder you," because he was talking to Mom. Our neighbor heard that, but we didn't know that. My dad, obviously found my brother with an altercation with my mom, but that was kind of the extent of it. And so he was kicked out, but then he came back a few days later, and then eventually everything just kind of was calm, and there was, there weren't any checks and balances necessarily after that, but all seemed calm. But it's just kind of the warning, the Rob
Right.
Reiner warning, the Konicke
Right.
warning. I'm sure every story like this could have that same warning of having rules, not letting that person run the show, not enabling them to the nth degree. There's, be kind, obviously. I enabled Zach even in the hospital. It may not seem like that, even reading the book, but I kept that room comfortable, calm. I didn't push his buttons. I was nice. I didn't question a whole lot in front of him, in front of people. And, I wanted to keep the room calm. And again, like I know how that was. I feel like I kind of enabled it. Just looking back, you can always kind of
Right. Right.
think through
Right.
things and been more demanding. And so that's our share to everyone watching this. It's like don't don't give up. Don't let this gut feeling that things are bad not get fixed. Don't let someone say no when you can push back harder or force change or just think outside the box more.
Yeah, and it's a message to the person too that hey, your parents are taking. And here again, we talk about children, but at that point, Zach was an adult. He was in charge of himself, and I'm not exactly sure what he was doing with his life. You know what I mean? He was working for Microsoft and stuff, but yeah, he was doing some things, and it showed up there when he pinned Vicky down. And so boundaries to let that person know, hey, we're watching you now. You don't have a free reign anymore. You know what I mean? You gotta get control of yourself in order to hang out with us. And like I said, it's a brand new idea to me, and I just need to develop it a little bit more. So that was a revelation.
Yeah. 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 All of this is just, it's not expert opinion from deep-seated research. It's just us living through it, having these thoughts, working through what happened, hearing other stories, and, seeing this through as this could have helped. So this could help you down the road or your family or someone that you know.
Yeah, even for therapists and employers to know this, an employee shows up, oh, my kid misbehaved, okay, well, the prescription for that is to put some boundaries around him. What are you doing, employee, or therapist? What are you doing, patient? You got to do something. You can't treat him like your other kids anymore. He has demonstrated that that is not a good recipe. So, and here again, I don't have any answers right now, but I think that there's some potential to not fix the mentally ill person, but make sure that some tragedy doesn't occur because of their condition.
As far as Washington state boundaries, Dad had this amazing idea years ago where if someone's admitted or admits themselves for mental illness or psychotic episode type stuff, the idea there is that civilians could be certified to be called in. Say you call three civilians in to learn about what this person's in for. So if the hospital is going to discharge them, they get the final say. So there's three of them. They learn about what happened. They understand all the ins and outs of why they're there, what's happened, all the story around it. And if two out of three of them say keep them here, that's society speaking that this person isn't acting right, and they don't trust them being out in society. Years ago, they used to lock everybody up too much. Now they're not locking up anybody. So where's the middle ground where society has a say on who's out on the roads or who's out driving around or who could be a risk to our family, just like what happened to our family. And
Right.
that's what I was thinking about when you were talking about that stuff.
Yeah, and those are two different engagements at different times in the mental illness, progress. What I was talking about with Zach was early on, but if you're in a hospital, because like Zach was, that's a little bit more advanced. So yeah, you'd think more action would be required, not zero. So,
Yeah, that was the first huge heartbreak that was, that led to the bigger heartbreak was I saw Zach, crazy stuff was happening. I knew it was out of my hands. Okay, what to do? Hospital. Hospital says he's not a threat to himself or anybody else because they don't have to keep him. And the big
right.
thing there that you would read in the book is that there was no doctor-patient relationship. So my dad talked earlier about calling the cops more, and he asked if that was in the book. That is very much in the book and a big part of the book. I even kind of joked about naming the book Call the Cops More, like as the actual title, because having a record on somebody is going to be way more beneficial than not. And we weren't afraid to call the cops. We just thought that calling the cops might make this worse for Zach. And so there was a concern there. And I wanted to share that because that could be the same thoughts that everyone else is having too. And so, but the cops are there to help, to support, and to assess the situation. This also gives that person in your life that extra little seed of the cops are being called on me. That's not normal. That's not good. And hopefully they can, change, or from that you can have a reason to create more boundaries, things like that.
It's died, Alex. Yeah, the screen just died for about 20 seconds.
Yeah,
It
it got a
locked
little
up
bit
on me at
choppy
least.
for me too. Oh
Okay.
no, my internet, I
So
think.
anyway, so there's a potential combination of the boundary thing with the cop thing. If you set some boundaries, just let the person know you violate these boundaries, I'm calling the cops. I
Yeah.
need to protect myself against the behavior I witnessed with my own two eyes. You know what I mean? It's in you somewhere at some level, and I need to protect myself from that. So, yeah, there's some lessons and potential actions are emerging from this. Who knows where it's going to go?
Yeah, the book was the first step to kind of get that all together, and that next step is to work on actually making a difference. I mean, it is also making a difference just having the book, but it's good awareness, but also how can we cause change in Washington and help families to not go through this and to support them because it's such an unknown world of what to do and how to think, and we kind of err on enabling like many of these stories do, and yeah.
Well, and for you, Alex, most people who go through something similar to that, I don't know if Reiners are going to write a book on their thing. I doubt it. I doubt that anyone who goes through family tragedies like this write a book about it, and document this actually happened. They want to get by it and get through it, and they don't want to spend the time writing a book about it. So what you have here is pretty unique in that you spent 10 years writing your story, our story.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're
Yeah.
anxious to allow that to make some improvements to the situation that we have with mental illness right now.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what comes and where God leads us and what people we can get in contact with, and just what more good we can do in memory of my mom, my brother, of our family tragedy, and just helping this not to happen to other people. At least just have a better system in place when things like this are
Right.
happening.
Right. But thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I hope you guys all find this helpful.
So, 10 years, last thought. 10-year tragedy anniversary today.
Um, I don't know how, but I went through a period of hopelessness. You know, I'm going to be a bachelor sitting in my house watching football for the rest of my life, type of thing, to actually looking forward to the future. Um, and the message is it can happen to you. So there is hope. It's not the end of the world. And I'm very appreciative of all the help I got. I got to tell you, just as a parting thing, it was hard initially accepting help. What do you mean you're giving me all these clothes? I've never
Hmm.
accepted help like that. And it's very endearing because the people really love it, and I really liked it, and I had to learn to be openly appreciative of it. And because of that experience, I want to be them now. I want to be the helper of people who are in need. and I am. So I was shown it by actual action on their parts, and love and thoughtfulness, and yeah, I gratitude is a big part of my life, that's for sure. I didn't get here by myself. None of us did.
Cool. Amen. That was,
Amen.
that was great, Pa.
Okay. Well, good. It
And
was, it was more than 5 to 10 minutes, Alex.
yeah, I know. I don't even know how long that was, but yeah, yeah. I'm excited for your wedding, whenever that is, Pa. And he just sold his house. That's awesome, and just a lot of good things going on. And yeah, we feel blessed.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Been good to us. And I'm not even thinking about something that bad or worse happening to me. Doesn't even enter my mind. I have extreme faith that I'll be well taken care of.
I'll share
And
something weird. Go ahead.
I have extreme faith that people will take care of me. That's basically what it is.
Yeah,
And I will take care of them as best I can if I know it. Well, yeah, and everyone knew about it because it was on the TV and the newspapers, and the street in front of the house is full of cops and fire engines, so everyone kind of knew about it pretty quick. But not everyone's personal tragedy is as well publicized as ours. So keep an eye out for people who are suffering tragedies that aren't publicized. So,
yeah, yeah, and make sure that you're someone that people will rush to, and
right.
want to help.
Right.
So the last little piece that was on my mind is the tragedy in my mind has helped make me more bulletproof. Tony Robbins talks about tragedy is the best classroom. So you learn a lot, you grow a lot if you allow that to happen. And I've had weird thoughts where a tragedy might happen in front of me or someone might shoot me or things like that. And my mind goes to laughing, like
Mhm.
like like in a sense of like, oh, really? Like, okay, I can handle this. And it's an interesting thought where, oh my gosh, like what if like someone hurts me or like comes in and it's um I'm kind of ready and able, like like you were saying earlier about being able to be a first responder. We're kind of so much more able to take on more and either help, or if something bad happened, not that we would shrug it off, but it's like, all right, we've been here. And so
Right.
it,
Familiar territory.
yeah,
Familiar
yeah.
territory
It's not
for us. Yeah.
scary. It's scary being on the other end of like, oh, I could never see that happening to me. But being on this end, we're just like, bring it on, and not asking for it, but like we got this. We got this.
Right.
I've seen this before, and yeah, game on. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Mom's
Well,
birthday
thank.
is January 19th, and so
Yep.
this is essentially our hell week, but to me, it's been a little bit emotional, but kind of just with book stuff and social media posting and passionate video, audio behind that just kind of hits the heartstrings and stuff. But it doesn't feel like a bogged down week anymore, and I just wanted to just bring up Mom's birthday and just that we love her and we miss her and we're always thinking about her and we know that she's watching over us in heaven. And
Right.
I will add this one last thing. At my dad's funeral, so Tom Konicke's funeral, the Catholic pastor gave a sermon during the actual funeral about losing someone and them going to heaven and how they're up there working with God, pleading for him to bless all of those that they loved. And it was such a cool picture that I think of Mom a lot up there. We often think about her up there with dogs and helping out with animals and whatnot, and however heaven works. But it's a cool picture to think that the ones that we've lost are now up there cheering us on and working with God or pleading with God or however life works, that good things will happen to us. And if nothing else, it's a good mindset. And it's just a cool picture when I think of her. And I also think about her a lot when I'm looking at our dogs. Whenever our dogs are looking at me, I'm always thinking of mom looking through the dog's eyes at me. Just a fun, sweet moment that I get to have.
Well, the last thought for me, Alex, is the fact that here we are 10 years later, and we can still remember everything that happened and everything before that happened. So we didn't recover by eradicating those thoughts
Burying
from our
it.
brain. Yeah,
Hmm.
we're there. And the little story I wanted to share with you, I went to the opera Carmen the other day, and it's a story that ends in a lady getting brutally stabbed with a knife many times by her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend.
Mm.
And at the end of the opera, my fiance Pepper said to me, "Were you triggered by that? You know, vicious stabbing of this girl?" And I said, "Triggered by what?" You know, she was more triggered than I was by that
Mm.
show. And yeah, we've managed somehow to still be able to think of all those bad things that happened and the good things that happened. Without, and I don't know about you, Alex, but I don't get triggered anymore. You know, I that was just a demonstration of one way that I showed that I wasn't triggered. I didn't even think of it actually.
Mm.
So I put
Wow.
it in, and it's not like I don't think about it. I put it in my brain at the right place. You know, where it's still there. If I want to meditate, think about that, it's still there. But but yeah, it's not a major driver in my life anymore. So maybe there's a case study there. How do you get to that point?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think part of that too is you relived the whole thing over and over and over until you said that's enough. There's a therapy that is definitely focused on that where a fearful moment or a PTSD moment, you go relive it and you sit in it. Where the way I did it was writing the book and rewriting and editing and everything.
Right.
And so, organically, I think we both did that, and that's huge. And the example there or the testament there is to not let things that are fearful run your life or hide from them
Forever.
or bury them
Forever.
down.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. That's what happens. People carry that to their grave, you know. And we're carrying the memories of it to the grave, to our graves, but we're not carrying the reaction and triggering and all those types of things anymore. So it's a testament to you, Alex, for writing that book. It's amazing.
Thanks, Paul. I got a few texts the week of Rob Reiner being murdered and his wife, and there were consoling texts like, "Hey, hope this isn't like a hard day for you." And what was interesting for me is that it wasn't what it wasn't heavy, it wasn't hard because the mission is to cause change to save these things from happening. It was a bummer that we didn't like help fix this one that's not like on my shoulders like my life like I failed but it was more this is why I'm doing this is exactly the reason why I spent thousands of hours working on the book and editing and now marketing it to get the word out to be an advocate and to help keep this from happening or just open the conversation and educate on it because in that scenario, like essentially the mission was too late, and it's kind of like game on. How do we do better with this? And that's cool to be able to say that and not have that hit home and then take a week off of work because I'm depressed because it triggered me. And so yeah, it's luck. What's your phrase, Pa? With luck equals whatever.
Luck equals preparation plus opportunity.
Yeah, and we've been
Luck
talking about that a
equals
lot. What's that?
luck equals preparation plus opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So you prepare as much as you can. When an opportunity comes up, people say, "Oh, you're lucky." No, I spent all this time preparing for this.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
If you
Totally.
don't prepare, if you don't prepare, you don't get to the luck part of the equation very often. So,
And then Charlie Munger has a quote. I might botch it right now just because my mind's not working fully, but opportunity comes to a prepared mind. I think that was it, or at least that's a phrase that
okay.
that they're thinking of a lot. So opportunity comes to a prepared mind. So you've prepared. Again, it's not luck. You're ready for it. Doors open all the time. God's opening doors, and we don't see him or we're not ready for him. But yeah.
Well,
So
that's an interesting subtlety, Charlie Munger thing, because he basically says, if you prepare, opportunity will come and find you. That's what he says, right?
yeah.
Opportunity comes to people who are prepared, you know. So yeah, it not only gets you prepared for the opportunity that you have, but it'll bring more opportunities to you. So that's an interesting one. Charlie Munger.
Rest in peace, Charlie Munger, too.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah. Well, cool. Pa, love you.
Okay. Love you too.
Cool.
Happy, sad, memorable anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it happy, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, we can
it's
smile. We can smile and laugh, and we do that. We even did that the day after the tragedy. Doesn't mean that it wasn't hard and yeah.
right. Yeah, in a lot of ways it didn't change us. In a lot of ways it did change us, and I'm glad it did change me in the ways that it did, and I'm really grateful that it didn't change me. It didn't change who I am. I'm the same guy. I'm the same laughing, smiling guy. It wasn't always that way in the 10-year period.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm also glad how it changed me, and we can probably even have a whole hour talking about that for both of us. We didn't, fully touch on that very much, but if I had lost you during that too, I feel like that would have changed me even more in ways that would have been harder to recover from. And so,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
thankful to have you, Pa, and I love you, and congrats on the engagement and the house offer and the house sale and lots of cool things coming. And I feel like this is going to be a really cool year.
I do too. Yeah. Bring it on.
Bring it on. Okay.
Okay. Talk to
Cool.
you
All
later, Ag.
right, Pa. I love you.
Love you too.